Good afternoon, students. Welcome you back to the classes. Today we are dealing with the problems of influence line diagram with respect to train of loads, or you can say concentrated loads. So in the given problem you are having the concentrated loads of 100, 120, 80 and 150 kilonewton with spacing. Now this spacing is with respect to the spacing between two loads. 2 meter crosses the girder of span 30 meter from left to the right with 100 kilonewton leading, that is 100 kilonewton load is leading. So for this you have to calculate reactions, that is absolute maximum shear force, not only the shear force, it is absolute maximum shear force. Next, maximum shear force at 10 meters from the left. At the same point you have to also calculate the maximum bending moment, and at the end you have to also, he has also told you to calculate absolute maximum bending movement. So as per the given statement problem, this is the diagram that we have drawn. The girder is 30 meters long. Here the loads, that is 100, 120, 80 and 150 with a spacing of 2 meters with 100 kilonewton leading, and this load is moving from left end to the right end. So with this setup or this diagram been given, let us solve firstly for reactions, that is absolute maximum shear force. We know that absolute maximum shear force occurs when the load is exactly on A point, that is the load is on A point. Now here we are having train of load. Now which load to consider? Always consider, when we are calculating for reaction array, the tail of the load should be on A point. For reaction array, the tail of the load should be on A point. Now in this diagram, that is the head. 100 kilonewton is called as the head of the loads, and 150, that is the last load, is called as the tail of the load. Now since, or in other words you can say, the complete load should be in AB section with the tail of the load at A point. So the given diagram will be like this. Here I have drawn directly the, for reaction array, the influence line diagram I have drawn directly. So this is the triangular load, sorry, this is the influence line diagram of reaction array with 1, that is a maximum ordinate at A, and 0, that is a minimum ordinate at B. Tail of the load should be on A, that's why we have kept 150 load on A point, and with respect to the 2 meter distances we have placed the other loads, that is 80, 120 and 100 kilonewton as it is. For 150 obviously the ordinate will be 1, for 80 I have given the ordinate as Z1, for 120 Z2, for 100 Z3. So this is how the arrangement is done. Now to calculate Z1, Z2 and Z3 we are using the similar triangles, that is the bigger triangle and the smaller triangle. Now as and how we take Z1, for Z1 this is the smaller triangle, for Z2 this is the smaller triangle, for Z3 this will be the smaller triangle. Depending upon for which ordinate we are going to calculate, the distances goes on changing. Now after doing the similar triangles, I have got Z1 value as 0.933, Z2 value as 0.867 and Z3 value as 0.8. How to calculate array reaction? So you know array reaction is given by load multiplied by the ILD, that is the influence line diagram value of the ordinate. Okay, that is load multiplied by the ordinate plus load multiplied by the ordinate plus load multiplied by the ordinate plus load multiplied by the ordinate. So that is nothing but 150 into 1 plus 80 into 0.933 plus 120 into 0.87 plus 100 into 0.8. This is how we calculate the reaction RA, and the reaction RA will be 408.67, and this is positive because we know RA reaction is positive. Now next, for RB. For RB, the head of the load should be on B. So this is the arrangement. Head of the load means here 100 kilonewtons. 100 kilonewton is placed on B. Similarly, with their 2 meters gap, I have placed, or we have to place this loads that are behind this 100 kilonewton. That is 120, 80. The distances are 2 meters. So this is the influence line diagram for reaction RB. Now again we have to calculate Z1, Z2 and Z3. Now Z1, Z2 and Z3 can be again calculated from your similar triangles. Now for Z1 it will be how much? 24 divided by 30. For Z2 it will be 24 plus 2, that is 26 divided by 30, and Z3 will be 28 divided by 30. Okay, so you will get Z1 as 0.8, Z2 as 0.867 and Z3 as 0.933. Now the calculation of RP is equals to load multiplied by ILD value of the ordinate, that is ordinate value of these points, that is 100 into 1 plus 120 into Z3 plus 80 into Z2 plus 150 into Z1. So that is what I have written over here, 150 into 0.8 plus 80 into 0.87 and 120 into 0.933 plus 100 into 1. After doing the calculation part, we will get it as 401.32 kilonewton, and we have taken it as negative. Now next, in the problem he has asked you to calculate maximum shear force at 10 meters from the left side, that is here at C point, that is 10 meters away from point A. I have to calculate the maximum shear force at this point and even maximum bending moment at C. Now the shear force diagram, we know the influence line diagram for shear force is in such pattern. Okay, now firstly we will calculate for positive shear force. Now we know for positive shear force the load should be in CB section. The load should be in CB section. Okay, here you have A, this is C, and here B. The complete load should be in CB section, or in other words you can say the tail of the load should be on C point. The tail of the load should be on C point. Now once you have the tail of the load on C point, rearrange the other loads as per the problem, that is 2 meters away from each other. Next we have to calculate these ordinates, that is Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4. Why here Z1? Because at C we don't know what is the ordinate. This is not exactly 1 or the ordinate is 1 when the load is exactly at A or it is at B. In any points other than A and B, we don't know what will be the ordinate value of the influence line diagram. See here, you can see I have shown the ordinate 1 at A point. Other than A point, you will not have anywhere the ordinate as 1. Next, when I will be calculating for negative shear force, the ordinate at B will be 1. Now we are calculating positive 1, so the influence line diagram for this RA will be considered. So only at A point the ordinate will be 1. Okay, let us now consider Z1, Z2 and Z3 and Z4. Now using similar triangles you can calculate Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4. Now Z1. Now this A to C is 10 meters. So this total base will be how much? 20 meters. 20 divided by this larger triangle base, that is 30. Similarly for Z2 it is 18 divided by 30. For Z3 it will be 16 divided by 30, and for Z4 it will be 14 divided by 30. Okay, so these are your values of the ordinates for Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4. Next, to calculate maximum positive shear force, that is nothing but multiply the ordinates with their respective loads and take the summation of it. Okay, maximum positive shear force at A, 150 into Z1, this you can see here, 150 into Z1 plus 80 into Z2 plus 120 into Z3 plus 100 into Z4. So this is how you get the summation of all the loads with their respective ordinates. So once you substitute the values of Z1 and Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4, you will get the answer as 258.71 kilonewton. Now next we have to calculate maximum negative shear force at C. Now to get maximum negative shear force at C, the head of the load should be at C. To get negative, the head should be at C. To get positive, tail should be at C. Okay. Now once we place the head of the load at C, rearrange the other loads with 2 meters apart from each other. Now since the distance between A to C is 10 meters, so after arranging, you should see that whether all the loads are fitting in AC or no. If anything is going out of the A point, even that is okay. It depends upon where this point is been asked for calculations. Okay. Now here since 4 meter is remaining, so I have mentioned that 4 meters. When you add up all these distances, you will get distance between A and C. Okay. Now we have to calculate again Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4. Now since we are calculating for negative shear force, we have to consider the bottom part of the shear force diagram. See here. Now one at a time, when we are calculating positive shear force, we take ordinate 1 at A point. When we are calculating for negative, at B point we take the ordinate as 1. Okay. Other than B point, you will never ever get any value as 1 in any of these ordinates, because it goes on decreasing. All the values that you will get henceforth for Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4, it will be less than 1 only. Okay, so this is the influence line diagram for negative shear force. Now let us calculate Z4, Z3, Z2, Z1 using your similar triangles. Now for Z1 it will be 4 divided by 30. For Z2 it will be 6 divided by 30. For Z3 it will be 8 divided by 30, and for Z4 it will be 10 divided by 30. That is this base. Okay, I'll show you once. Now here you are having 1 divided by 30 is the larger triangle. Now if I consider this smaller triangle, that is base divided by its height. Since 1 is the height over here, what is the height for this smaller triangle? Z1. And what is the base for this smaller triangle? It is 4. That's why it is Z1 is equals to 4 divided by 30. Similarly, do it for Z2, Z3 and Z4. Okay. We can do it directly by both the bases, provided the height is 1. Okay. So this is Z. So I am getting Z1 as 0.133, Z2 as 0.2, Z3 as 0.267, Z4 as 0.33. Now negative shear force at C is given by summation of load multiplied by its ordinates. So 150 into Z1, 80 into Z2, 120 into Z3 plus 100 into Z4. So substitute the values of Z1 and at the end you will get the negative shear maximum shear force at C as how much? 100.99, or also you can take it as 101. Okay, next to calculate maximum bending moment at 10 meters from left hand side. This is L from left hand side, that is, this is your A point, this is B point, 10 meters from the left hand side, that is at C. Now distance between A to C is 10 meters. Now to calculate the maximum the maximum bending moment, here we have to see at what load does the changes in C point take place. Now what kind of change in C should take place? That is, once the load starts moving from left to the right, we have to check which side, that is whether AC or CB is heavier. Now whenever we are checking such way, we have to allow one load to pass one by one from point C or to move over point C. You will get at one single point where, now suppose when the complete load is in AC point, obviously AC portion will be heavier than the CB portion because all the load is on AC section. Next, when one load moves, that is one load is coming over here, since we are saying that 100 kilonewton is heading, once 100 kilonewton crosses C point, what will happen? In AC section you will be having 3 loads and in CB section you will be having 1 load. We have to take the ratio, or you have to take the average load in AC section and average load in the CB section. Now how do we do that? Okay, now this is the table that we follow for calculating the or finding out at what load does the heavier section changes to the lighter section. Okay, or you can say the average load is equalized. Now here the load rolling on C, that is at 10 meters, you are having average load at AC point, average load on the CB section, and you are having the remarks. Remarks are nothing but whether the AC section is heavy or the CB section is heavy, that those remarks you are going to calculate. Now once when 100 kilonewton passes AC section, that time we will be having 3 loads on AC section and 1 load in the CB section. So divide the average load by the length of AC section. So you will, once you have this, from this remark you get that AC is greater than CB. Next, you have to continue this till there is some change in this remarks. So as you can see over here, when there is some change in the remark. Next, 120 will cross C point. So on left hand side also you will be having 2 loads, on the right hand side also you will be having the 2 loads. Still there is no change in the remark, that is AC section is still heavier than the CB section. Now next, moving to when 80 kilonewton will cross C point, that time you will be having only 1 load remaining in the AC section, that is 150. So 150 divided by 10, and in the CB section you will be having 3 loads, that is 80, 120 and 100. So 100 that is the summation of these loads divided by 20. At that point you can see the averages of both, that is you will be getting here you will get it as 15, and even at here you will get 15. So this average loads on AC section as well as in the CB section is equalized. So you have to stop doing this trial at this point. what is the meaning of this average is, once when 80 kilonewton passes the C point, the load or there is change in the sections, that is you will be getting at 80, at when you place 80 kilonewton at C point, that is when you place 80 kilonewton at C point, you will be getting the maximum bending moment at C. Okay, you will be getting the maximum bending moment at C point. Or in simple words you can say, we are from the table we are trying to calculate the maximum effect, which load gives the maximum effect when it rolls over point C. Okay, now since from the table we have seen that when 80 kilonewton rolls over C point, the heavier, that is the heavy section turns to the lighter section and the lighter section turns to the heavier section. So this will be the arrangement for influence line diagram. Okay, at C you are having the maximum load which causes the heavier section, or that there is changes in the loads. So place 80 kilonewton here. So with respect to 2 meters distances, you have to place the other loads. Then draw their ordinates. For 150 I have given the ordinate as Z1, for 120 as Z2, for 100 as Z3, and for 80 I have named it as ZC, because we know the ordinate is maximum at C point, and this is always given by AB divided by L. For C, what is the A value? 10 meters and B value is 20 meters. Now I have written down the remaining distances for other loads so that our calculation will be easy. Now let us do for ZC, AB divided by L. Now for Z1 I have to consider this larger triangle, and this will be my smaller triangle. That is, for Z1 calculation it will be what? ZC divided by 10 will be equal to Z1 divided by this distance. How much is this? It will be 8 meter. Therefore my Z1 will be what? Z1 will be equal to ZC into 8 divided by 10. Okay, and ZC is what? AB divided by L, and we have calculated as 6.67. Z1 is 5.336. Similarly for Z2. Now Z2 I have to consider this triangle. This is will be my larger triangle, and this ordinate of Z2 will be my smaller triangle. Okay, now Z2 I have calculated, that is 18 divided by 20 into the value of ZC. Z3 is 16 divided by 20 into the value of ZC. So I have got the respective values. Now maximum moment at C is what? Load multiplied by the ordinate. So load multiplied by the ordinate, that is 150 into Z1, 150 into Z1, 80 into ZC, 120 into Z2, and 100 into Z3. I will be getting the answer, I have got the answer as 2587.96 kilonewton meter. Next he has told to calculate the absolute maximum bending moment. Now this is the absolute maximum bending moment. Here are some steps. Okay, firstly, first step is what? You have to calculate the X bar. Okay, how do we calculate X bar? That is nothing but we have always to take, we have to take movement about the leading load. We have to take movement about the leading load. Okay, here we are nothing but we are trying to calculate the centroid of the loads. Okay, where the reaction is going to, where your resultant will be passing by. Now here I have taken R as my resultant. Now how do I calculate? This is resultant, this is complete my resultant. I'll show here. resultant into x bar, that is the distance between the leading point, the leading load and the resultant, I have named it as x bar, is equals to 150 into 6, 80 into 4, 120 into 2. This is the movement. Now what is resultant? Summation of all the forces, that is 150, 80, 120 and 100. So this is the resultant. So I'll get x bar as what? 3.24. Okay. This is easy. Resultant is nothing but what? Summation of all the loads. Okay. This you have done in your elements of civil engineering. Now once you get x bar, that is meaning is the resultant is 3.24 meters away from the leading load. So draw the diagram, that is 3.24 away from the leading load. So this 3.24 lies in between, somewhere between 120 and 80 kilonewton. 120 and 80 kilonewton. Now we have to find out the position. Now in between these two loads, we have to always take the heavier load. The distance is always taken towards the heavier load. Between 80 and 120, which is the heavier load? 120. So I have to place this 120 in such a way that in the complete girder I have to get the maximum bending movement, or you can say absolute maximum bending movement. Now that position I have to calculate. So that position is what? In my previous lectures we have seen that the maximum position of 120 or the heavier load from A is given by what? L divided by 2 plus D divided by 2, where L is span and D is the distance between resultant and the heavier load. Now how do we calculate this D distance? Now we know the distance from heavier load till R is how much? 3.24. Now the distance between the leading load and the heavier load is how much? 2. So what will be this remaining distance? 3.24 minus 2, that is 1.24. So this is how we calculate the distance between resultant and the heavier load. Now once we know this, you can substitute in this equation and get the position of heavier load from left support. Now position of 120 kilonewton from A point, that is from left support, is given by L by 2 plus D divided by 2. So I have told you D is how much is D? That is 1.24. We have calculated in the previous section. So after doing the calculation, you will get it as 15.62 meters. So here I have named it as M because here I am calculating my absolute maximum bending moment. Now this absolute maximum bending moment occurs at a distance of 15.62 meters away from A point. So minus 15.62 from A, from 30 meters the remaining distance is B. So this is my maximum ordinate, and this maximum ordinate is given by AB divided by L. So I am placing 120 at this point. So rearrange the other loads, calculate Z1, Z2 and Z3 using the similar triangles. So this is how 2 meters from 15, if I am from 15.62, if I minus 4, I will be getting this, that remaining value is 11.62, and from 14.38, if I minus this 2 meters, I will get 12.38. Now Zm, you know, it is obviously the maximum ordinate, and the maximum ordinate is given by AB divided by L. You will get 7.49. Z2 will be what? This distance, that is 11 plus 2, 13.36 divided by 15.62 multiplied by Zm. Z1 will be 11.62 divided by 15.62 multiplied by Zm. So you will get Z1, Z2 and Z3. Z3, for Z3 you have to use this the other side of this similar triangle. Okay. Now absolute maximum bending moment is summation of the load multiplied by its ordinate. So after doing this calculation, you will get 2901.7 kilonewton meter. Here the important thing in calculating absolute maximum bending moment is position of this load. How, once you know how to get this position of the load, rest the steps remain the same. This positioning is important. How do we get the positioning? First we have to calculate the x bar distance, that is the resultant distance from the leading load. Now where that distance lies in between two loads. Now in between those two loads you have to choose which is the heavier load. Now once you choose the heavier load, you have to calculate the distance between your that is a d distance, d distance, that is distance between resultant and the heavier load. Once you get that, then this positioning is easier, that is the direct equation you have L divided by 2 plus d divided by 2. So once you get this, rest remains the same, rest points are easy, just you have to see whether how do you position this heavier load. Okay, thank you.